today's session is an opportunity for you to ask us, the code manager, any questions that you might have about navigating around the new user interface on the Rec Portal and Digital Navigator. We've got nothing we intend to explicitly present to you today. This session is very much about giving you the opportunity to ask us questions, and then Roz from the digital navigator side and myself from the other elements of the Rec Portal will be more than happy to demonstrate the usability and the different functions on the portal and how things have changed since the new user interface was put into place last Thursday. Because there's not very many of us on the call today, while we do have a Slido link that we've just shared on the Teams chat there, feel free to just raise your hand on Teams as well, and jump in and ask a question, because, as I say, there's not terribly many of us today, so it's probably the easier way to do things, to be honest. So I'm gonna share my screen just so we bring the portal up, so that those of you who might not be as familiar with it or haven't really got to explore it very much yet can at least have it on screen as we do. Go. So hopefully those of you, most of you on the call, have been able to have an early explore of the portal and its new sort of mega menu function and ways of navigating around the portal. But really, as I say, this is your opportunity to ask questions. So I'll throw open to the floor. Does anyone have anything information they want to get out of us as the code manager team today? Paul, good morning.
Yes, thanks, Paul, very much. Yeah, just a couple of things. I phoned up in the week, so I've got too many documents open, so I'm going to close a few. Sorry, let me just get to the right one. Yeah, I rang in the week because I had an access issue, and one of your colleagues kindly gave me a different URL.
Right.
So I've got the one which takes me to this page. So
Fabulous.
The fact I'm using that means it must by definition be perfect. So the parts that I'm particularly interested in are, I've already been using it, Paul, and I've managed to navigate this part.
Excellent.
But it's around where the change proposals are held.
Okay.
And also where the operational contacts are held. And as well, if we have any sort of RFIs or anything like that come up.
Okay,
fabulous. Particularly helpful. Thanks, Paul.
No worries. So we'll start at the change place, and you'll notice, well, hopefully it's fairly logical that the way you'll be getting into the change areas through the change and release button.
Yeah.
And then
I didn't mean to interrupt. That's what I've been doing. So it definitely is logical.
Good news, good news. And this is the primary way to get in. If you move to the Rec Change Overview page, you'll see a familiar page which used to be the Change Management landing page, which takes you into the ability to download the Excel version of the change register, to go to Rec Releases, or to move into this familiar tile-based page where you have the opportunity to go to the change register and the individual change spaces. Now, we still got about 4 or 5 weeks of development work left on the user interface in the portal, and this page, the change management pages, the change register, and the change proposal pages are a central part of the further changes we're expecting to make to the user interface in these spaces. So soon you can expect this tile layout to go and be replaced by something a little more in keeping with the rest of the new portal design. But for the time being, this area is fairly untouched. So if you move through here into the change register page, you'll still see the familiar change register in the same format as it was before, with the same information. If you click on through to a change through the change register here, you'll still be taken to this same change register change proposal page with the familiar chevrons that show you where a change is in its life cycle. Now you can see as we've put certain elements of the new design into place, it has had some minor formatting impacts on some of these fields. You can see there's a bit of overlap, but as I say, the focus of the next 4 to 5 weeks is going to be about completely reinvigorating these pages anyway. So any issues you might see with layout on these pages is very temporary as we look to bring forward the improvements which significantly improve your ability to manage those pages. Hopefully that's answered the first bit.
Yeah, Paul, that's perfect. I've been using that in that way.
Brilliant.
I just wanted
Excellent.
to make sure because that's critical for me. So thank you.
Absolutely, and responding to consultations and impact assessments, you have the same functionality here. So if you move into consultations, you'll see the consultations that are currently live, and you'll have the ability to click through to a consultation to be able to submit your responses in exactly the same way that you used to on the portal. There's really no change from what we saw there, and the same with impact assessments. Any live impact assessments gives you the same ability to do that. You'll be able to keep up to date with consultations and impact assessments as they go live by signing up to receive the weekly change bulletin, which goes out on a Friday at midday, and also signing up to receive change emails as well. And we're also going to be using the news function more on the front page of the portal here to talk about key milestones in the change process, as well as other news. So when there are new impact assessments or consultations raised or decisions made on changes, you can expect to see stories appearing on our front page. And if you wanted to see all the news articles that have been published, you have the ability now. You didn't have this before, but you can click through to view all news articles, and you can view all the articles that have been raised since the new design was put in place, as well as pagination down here when we move over 9 tiles in a page, so that you can go back, and this is sorted by publication date, so you can see all the different impacts and decisions and milestones that have been publicised by the front page of the portal. I think you then mentioned, Paul, on the party register and the operational contacts.
Yes, please.
So you need, I believe, to be logged in to be accessing certain of this information. I think the operational contacts, you need to be logged in and associated with a user organization, which I think probably most people on this call are. But under the drop down for organization management, you can see the rec party register and operational contacts list on here. So these are both downloadable Excel spreadsheets. So this will just create a download that goes into your downloads file on your local drive, where you can download the rec party register and operational contacts. And these are updated on a weekly basis by the code manager with any additions that have been submitted to us, either usually via the OAMs or via the performance assurance team over the course of that previous period. So that's the best way through that as well.
That's great. Thank you.
And then moving forward, you mentioned RFIs as well. So the RFIs, I presume you're thinking about the performance assurance type RFIs there. So this is another area actually that we're going to be working on over the next 5 weeks to improve the user interface. But if you click on this button, you'll be presented with this very familiar tile menu for organization management. We've changed the what used to be called party operations to organization management, mostly because it actually covers more than just rec parties, this area now, as we start to look at the compliance of people like third-party intermediaries under the rec, but also service providers as well. So we've changed the naming slightly of this. But if you click on your performance assurance tile, you'll be presented with a list of organizations that you are associated with. We have a couple of test ones set up here, so I can demonstrate. Move into here, and you'll see this familiar format within this area, where any RFIs that the performance assurance team have uploaded into your area can be accessed through here in the normal way. There's absolutely no change to this function as there was before the new changes went in. It's still exactly the same. But as I said, we are focusing on a reworking of these pages to go in over the course of the next 4 to 5 weeks as well. Just reminding myself, Paul, of something while I was looking at the homepage. If you scroll down slightly on the homepage below the latest news and the quick links to the areas of the rec code which are new now, you've also got a couple of things related to change in here as well. So you have an easy way to get to the release schedule and to see what the upcoming releases are into the code. But also this module on the right hand side of the page here will display the 3 change proposal pages that have had updates made to them most recently by the code manager. So you might be able to see which changes might be moving forward. You can see all 3 of these changes had amends made to them in the past day. Either their status was changed or some of the detail within the changes raised, and you had the ability to go directly into that change proposal page by clicking on the title here, which will take you straight into the change proposal page, or alternatively clicking view the change register through this link, alternatively to going through the mega menu element up here.
That's great. Paul, just a quick question. Sorry to keep hogging this.
No.
You mentioned earlier about signing up to the weekly bulletins and stuff. I'm already signed to them. Presumably anyone who already is doesn't need to re-sign.
No, It's
I just
all
wanted
exactly
to
same. That's managed
absolutely
slightly
double
outside
check.
of the portal.
Yeah,
Now you'll still
absolutely.
receive them, absolutely no problem at all. And you will be able as well, if you want to get to an old copy of the bulletins. If you go through our knowledge center now, this is where a lot of the hubs are contained, but also links to our service desk, to our rep wiki, but also some archive information. So if you want to see old versions of the podcast that we put out, but also the published versions, PDF versions of all the bulletins going back for a few months really, and then we can also send you them if you want older ones than that as well. So you have the ability to go in here and download both the weekly bulletins and the change bulletins published on a certain date for a period of months going backwards in time. But yeah, if anyone's not signed up to receive either the general weekly bulletin that goes out at 10 a.m. or the change bulletin that goes out at 12 p.m. on every Friday, all they need to do is just send us either raise a query through the live chat module in the bottom right hand corner here, and the ladies on the service desk will be able to add you to that list straight away, or send an email to inquiries@repmanager.co.uk, and we'll be able to add you to that list as well. Make sure you're receiving them. Thank you, Paul. Anyone else on the call have any questions to raise? We do have Roz on the call as well from a digital navigator point of view. So if there's anything on that side that people wanted to explore, then we can do that as well. But Molly, you've raised your hand. Welcome.
Hi, Paul. Yeah, could you? Sure. I mean, same as the other Paul. I've had a good fiddle around with it and managed to find most things, but I am pretty much struggling at the moment to find performance assurance operating plan and the risk register. Could you navigate us to that, please?
But both the performance assurance operating plan and risk register are categorized as category 3 documents under the REC. So they exist as code products, and if we move down, well, we can do it in a couple of ways to get to the category 3 products. The easiest way through the mega menu from anywhere on the portal is to click on this page here. You'll see a performance assurance section, and here you'll see the risk register and the performance assurance operating plan here as well. You can also get into category 3 documents directly from the home page, and it should, and I'm testing myself now just in case it doesn't, but it should be working in the in here as well. Sometimes the search I appreciate is a little bit hard to find because there are lots of different versions that are being returned. So search is something that we have a longer term aim to look at optimizing even more. So I appreciate why that might be a little more difficult to do that way. But yeah, I also appreciate that unless you know it's a category 3 document, it can be a little bit difficult to know where to look for something like this, and we're having a discussion with the change team about how some of this might be a little more logically laid out so that it's an easier journey to get to that sort of place going forward. But yeah.
No, that's great. You know, I think with the landing page and everything changing, I've been scratching around inside performance assurance and completely forgot that there was a category 3 documents. So it's a good refresher. Thank you.
No worries at all, Molly. Paul.
Yes, so it's not. It's more of a request. It might already been done. One of the things in the past that I fed back, and it might have been fixed now, Paul. So apologies. Is if you've got a change proposal and it's got a consultation related to it. Previously, you couldn't, to my knowledge, go into the change proposal page and have a hyperlink there to the consultation. I think you needed to go separately into the consultation page. And I think there was talk about having a link within the CP itself. So if you go to the, I don't know, R123, there would be a link to the consultation if it had one. But I don't know if that's been fixed already or is something that REC might consider.
Now, I don't think it has been fixed yet, but it's a very timely time to raise that piece of feedback. Rachel Norberg's on the call. She's our Rep Portal product owner, and she'll be working really closely over the course of the next couple of weeks with the developers and with the change management team internally to make sure that stakeholder requirements in a updated user interface across change are properly reflected. It sounds like a really sensible thing to integrate into a new design, so we can definitely make sure your comments are passed on, and if feasible, absolutely, there's something we can look to take forward over the next few weeks, Paul.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
No worries at all. Any further questions?
Yeah, the only, sorry to be an again,
no,
Paul.
please.
You showed at the beginning where you see the latest updates in one place, the latest news. Could you just share that one more time? Would you mind?
Yeah, of course.
Thank you.
Couple of ways to get to it. The easiest way from the homepage is to just click on this view all news articles link on the bottom here. The other way to get to it is to go through the Knowledge Center, and there's a link to news up here as well. So that will bring you to receive all the news articles that have been posted since the new user interface went live, and you can click into read any of these, read more, and it will take you to receive the detail of the change there as well. I'm currently working with the team to explore something. This is very prototype at the moment, but to explore something using tags on how news works. So a couple of these articles here associated with the committees have been tagged with the word committees, and I've set something up within the committees dashboard here to return a list of all news articles that have been published associated with that tag. So if you were interested in committees only and you were navigating to the committees dashboard, it would be easy for you to see all the relevant, or maybe the past 5 or 6 news articles that have been published about committees without having to go through that page. But this is something we're in the early stage of investigating how it can be used most effectively at the moment, but just a use case for how it's something we might be looking to make further improvements for down the line.
Thank you.
No worries. Anyone have any further questions they'd like to raise today? Of course, if you do come across further questions while you're exploring the portal, our doors very much open. The live chat in the bottom right hand corner of the portal probably is the best and quickest way to get answers to your questions. We've given the service desk team a lot of support around some of the frequently asked questions that might come up if they do have challenges coming into them about the particular ways that things have changed more significantly over the portal. So feel free to use our service desk. I'm really keen as well that we do understand how people are getting on with it and whether they do feel that it's been an improvement. We've created a survey, and I'm just going to put a link to the survey in the chat here, which we encourage you to let us know, things that you're liking on the portal at the moment, things that you think could use some improvement still, so that we know where to focus our efforts over the course of the next few weeks and beyond that as well, because I say we're working very hard in a focused way over the next 4 weeks to bring this Elements user interface forward, but by no means are we saying that we aren't going to still keep improving the portal going forward. It's just that we've got a lot of resource available to us right now to make some significant changes quickly. So this is a really good time to get that feedback to us if there's something you want to see. So please do just take a couple of minutes to look at that form, and it helps us drive that continuous improvement. Ros, from a digital navigator side, was there anything particular you wanted to discuss on the call, or are you quite happy to just take questions as they come?
I'm happy to take questions as they come. So anything on the data specification, the digital rec, and if you've tried Ask Erin, so we've now got a link to that right at the top of the screen there. So if you did have a question on the rec, you can ask Erin.
Yeah, you'll be taking you may be used to EMAR or the digital navigator and the portal being two quite separate looking services, but one of the sort of objectives of the project at the moment was about congruence of design, bringing the look and feel across the two as much as possible. We're still working on 2 different platforms. There's going to be the odd difference here and there. You won't be able to get your notifications on the portal when you're in EMAR, but hopefully you'll still have access to this common mega menu, and you'll still have access to the same sort of visual layout across the two. So hopefully you'll find that more easy to feel like you're in the rec space rather than operating in 2 quite different systems. Okay, we'll probably bring this session. Oh no, Paul, one more question.
Sorry, me again.
In the nick of time.
This is slightly unrelated.
Please.
But one thing that would be very helpful, we've flagged before, is the portal does log you out quite quickly. Or it
shouldn't do any more.
Perhaps it doesn't now.
Back in the day, there used to be a really unhelpful 15-minute inactivity window on the portal. We did change that quite a long time ago, and now Rachel, you might have to remind me, but I think it's a 1 hour period of inactivity. And when I say inactivity,
Yeah.
clicking on a one page that you're in won't deem you to be active. So if you have been sitting in a single page for an hour, it is going to log you out. But any clicks through to a different page should keep that period, that single session available. So if you are having problems and you're being logged out quicker than you think, do let us know so we can investigate. But there shouldn't be any problems.
That's fine. I'll be honest, I had noticed it far more in the past.
Yeah.
I probably, like most people on the call, you go in and you look at a change proposal or something, and about 17 different emails come up, and if you go
Time
back
flies.
and
Yeah.
you go back and it's gone. So probably just time flies, as you say, Paul. Thank you.
No worries at all. That you will find when the first time you move from the portal to EMAR, to the digital navigator elements, even if you're logged into the portal, the first time you move over to the digital navigator, it's still going to ask you to log in once, because it's still a slightly separate instance that uses single sign-on to associate between the two. But that should only happen once. It won't happen every time you bounce between the two services.
Hi, it's Jo from
Hi, Jo.
Centrica. I'm having that problem that Paul's just mentioned with regards to being timed out, and I've literally just tried to click on the code map, and each time it's asked me to log in, and that's just been within the last 30 seconds.
So the code roadmap is one of those things that's hosted on the digital navigator side.
Right.
So the first time you move into that, you will be asked to sign in to establish that single sign-on link between the portal and the digital navigator element. But when you go back into the portal and back into it again, it shouldn't ask you to do that. If it does, we can raise a ticket and have a look at why that's happening.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on it. If it does, I'll definitely raise it. Thanks, Paul.
Cheers, Joe. And as I say, the best way to get in touch as quickly will be to use that live chat link in the bottom right hand corner. But Rachel's on the call, and she'll be the one that gets the tickets raised to her for escalation if there is something that we can support with.
Perfect. And one
Cheers,
other
Joe.
thing for me with regards to the notifications bell, the
Yep.
right hand side. So obviously there's numerous documents that ping in there, and my number goes up and up and up and up. Is there any way that you can kind of simplify what's needing action and what's just for info, potentially? Because I'm only the alternate contract manager, so not necessarily all of them are for me.
Mhm.
Sometimes when I go in there, if I had 3,518, I'd have an anxiety attack, Paul, so I don't know how you cope with that. I only have about 48, but even then it's kind of like having to go through to determine, all right, someone's just uploaded something, or
And as you can tell, because of the sheer number of mine, frankly, I find it difficult, and I don't rely on notifications to get the communications that I need to do things anymore. It's a fruitless exercise of the amount of notifications that I get coming through. There are a couple of tricks. That we are looking at notifications, the engine, the style of them, the content of them, who receives them, not within the next 5 weeks, but that's something that we're going to be picking up after the tail end of this project and thinking about in the round to maximize the effectiveness of them. However, when you do go into if you click on your name and you click on notifications and you hover over this, you will see, usually you won't see this blue box, but when you're in this screen, you will, and you can click on this 3-dot menu and configure. And when you can configure this, you can actually choose what type of events you receive a notification for, and whether you receive them to your email or whether you receive them as a portal notification. This is a bit of a hidden feature, to be honest.
Yeah.
We haven't really explored this too much before. And some of these items are a lot clearer than others. You can see, for example, when a change proposal you've submitted has been accepted, you might want to receive a notification about that. Some of them aren't very well set up here in terms of their headings. This is called notification 56, but the details there. So notification triggered when an RFI log is changed to pending status, for example.
Right.
So you might decide, and for a lot of them, they will be defaulted to off, and you'll only receive things that are defaulted to on. Now, the reason I've got so many notifications is because in my role, I really want to test that I'm receiving the things I should be. So I've switched everything to on. I receive everything that happens on the portal. I receive a notification and an email about. Most people won't want to do that, and you'll find that most of these are defaulted to off. You might just want to play around. If you're getting a lot of information that you think that's completely relevant to me, either we can help you understand what you might need to do in this section to configure it, or you can go in yourself, have a look and turn them off. But as I say, we will be looking to improve this going forward, and if you're willing, we might be able to use yourself as a bit of a sounding board for how something like this might look going forward. A bit of stakeholder engagement that might be useful for us to do with yourself.
Yeah, I'll definitely be up for that. But thank you for that tip. That's good to know.
Thank you. Okay. Any more questions? Right, as I was saying before, feel free to raise any questions at any point you've got. We will publish the recording of this session today, but our door is always open. Do get in touch with us with any questions. We are going to be making changes, as I said, over the course of the next 4 to 5 weeks, which we hope you'll really appreciate. We hope you agree that the changes we've made to the portal are a real step up beyond what it was before, modernisation of it, and hopefully navigating the portal is that much easier now. Certainly, from a personal point of view and from within the code manager, we're finding it a lot quicker to find the documentation we want to find, and hopefully that's reflective of your experiences as well. But please do let us know if that is the case, or indeed if it isn't the case, via that survey link that I shared. Be more than happy to get back to any feedback. Before we close, Paul, you've one last hand for us.
Apologies, one final one.
No,
could you just take us to the reporting catalogue, please?
The PARC, the performance assurance reporting catalogue, yeah,
please.
So this is under the category 3 products. Is it? Oh, I got that wrong. Hold on a second. This is showing my my lack of no, it's not, is it? It's part of the operational documents, I think. So under code products here, you can either come into here and then click backwards into the rec codes and outwards into operational documents, or you can click downwards into here, code products, into operational documents. And here you can see the performance assurance report catalog. A couple of options here. You can either choose to download the file, or you can choose to copy a link, and if you click that button, it goes into your clipboard, so you can paste a link to somebody else within your business, or paste it into an email or something like that as well. There are some files that are PDFs, and if it's a PDF, you can click on the I button, and that's going to bring up a new tab with the PDF version of it. But because this is an Excel document, your browser won't allow that, so the only option for you here is to download it into your download files.
Lovely.
Was there a question about the document specifically, Paul? Was it just about how to navigate to it?
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
No worries at all. All right, fabulous. So unless any final hands come up while I'm closing up, thank you very much for attending today. It's been really useful. I know only a few of us on the call, but hopefully you've had some value about the opportunity to ask us any questions and hear what your industry colleagues have got to say as well on the portal, and hopefully get some value out of that. So thank you very much. I'll post the recording of this on the portal by the end of the week, and we'll share it as well on the news page and in the weekly bulletin as well, so your colleagues can pick up the recording. But thank you very much for your questions today, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon.